All right, here's our video for graphing linear equations. We're going to skip the warm-up because we did plenty of that in class. We're going to go straight to the lesson. Here are three different ways of graphing a linear equation. We're actually going to start with slope-intercept because this is the one we reviewed most in our activity yesterday, so it'll be easiest to start here. What you need to know is that any time you're trying to graph a line, you need at least 2 points. More points makes for a better line, but you need a minimum of 2 to figure out the shape and direction of the line. And so that is going to be our goal here with these different forms of equations, is how can we get those 2 points? And in slope-intercept form, we start with the b value. We know that that is the y-intercept, and we graph that. And then we use the slope, which is whatever number is in place of m. That's the rise over run, the vertical change up or down, the horizontal change left or right from the point that we graphed first. And using the slope will give us our second point, and then we have a line. So this is going to be the first step here. Graph y-intercept. And we want to practice writing that as an ordered pair. That's when x is 0 and y is whatever constant value is here in the place of b. And that is 8. So I'm going to put that on my graph. And then the second step is going to be use the slope to graph a second point. So the slope is whatever is in the place of m. So here's m in the general form, and in our specific equation, that's the coefficient for x, and here that is -3/2. So the negative can go with the 3 on top, or it can go with the -2 on bottom. And when it's on top, this means that we're going to go down 3 and right 2. So starting at my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 3 and right 2. And I have my second point, and I could go ahead and graph that line. But let's talk about the other direction. If I had the negative for the 2 on the bottom, this would mean I would need to go up 3 and left 2. So if I go back to my y-intercept and do that, go up 3, left 2 would be about here. And you'll notice all that makes the same line because the slope gives us the angle in the direction of the line. So it doesn't matter if I'm going this way or the other way, it'll be the same. Now let's go next to the point slope form. This method also gives us a point to graph and then use a slope to find the second point. So that our first step will be to graph the point. This time it's not the y-intercept, it's the x1, y1 point that we're going to get from the equation. So you'll see in this general form right here that there's an x1 in the parentheses with the x, and there's a y1 on the left side with the y. And if we look at our specific equation here, let's figure out which numbers are in the same position as that x1 and y1. The position of the x1 is this 2, and the position of the y1 is this 1. And you'll notice in the general form they have these minus signs. That is telling you that you actually want to do the opposite of what you see in your equation. So the negatives mean do the opposite. So we're going to take, or maybe we'll write use. Use the opposite signs. So this first point, my x-coordinate comes from whatever number is in place of the x1. It's +2. I'm going to use the opposite sign, which is -2. And then I'm going to find the y value that's in the place of y1, so that's over here on the left side. It's -1. I'm going to use the opposite sign, which is +1. And there is my first point. So -2, +1. And now my second step is going to be the same as the other method. Use slope to graph a second point. So the slope is whatever number is in the same place as m here, right? It's the number in front of the parentheses. We're not distributing or doing any math. We're just looking to see what number is in that same position. So on my specific example, the 3 is in front of the parentheses. That's in the same position as the m. So my slope is 3. Now remember, slope is rise over run, so we need a fraction. And we know that if there's no denominator, it's understood to be 1. So this means I'm going to go up 3 and right 1. So up 3, right 1. Now that's enough for my line. If I want to make a better line, I'll do some more points. You can keep going up 3, right 1. You could go down 3, left 1. Either way, it gets you the same line. Okay, so now we go over to method 1, standard form. In this form, you'll notice there's no m anywhere, so we're not dealing with slope here, but we still need 2 points. The 2 points we're going to use are the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Now, any point that's an x-intercept is going to have a y value of 0. So mathematically, that means I can just put 0 in for y and solve for the x value. The same thing is true for the y-intercept. Any point up and down the y-axis, which is a y-intercept, is going to have an x value of 0. So mathematically, I can just put 0 for x and then solve for y, and that will give me my second point. So that's what we're going to do. So first, we will find the x-intercept. So this means that we are going to let the y value be 0 in our equation. So I'll have 3x minus 4 times 0, which is just 0. So I'm not even going to write that. So 3x equals 12 because the y term went away. And now I'm going to divide by 3 and x equals 4. So my ordered pair is 4, 0. When y is 0, x is 4. And I'm going to graph it on my grid. And now I will do the same procedure for the y-intercept. So find the y-intercept. And in this situation, we're going to let x equal 0. And we're going to do that in the original equation, not this one that we used in step 1. We're going to go back to the original equation. So putting 0 for x is going to give me 3 times 0, which is nothing. So that just drops off, leaving me -4y equals 12. And now I divide both sides by -4, and that gives me -3. So I've got my y-intercept at 0, -3, and there are my 2 points for my graph.